Hello, Diderot audience. This is Bree Smocks back again with our segment, Giving Black Women Their Flowers. And we have joining us my sis, bestie, friend, Christie Holland. Okay. First of all, before we get into her questions, we met through Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She was at TCU, I was at SMU, and it's been a love affair ever since. So we're going to jump right in to her business, love, relationships, all of that. So can you tell us, Christie, first of all, what's Good at Fitness? Why did you start it? Talk about your brand first, like who you are in that space.
So Good at Fitness provides the entrepreneur, the Black entrepreneur, a moment. Simple as that. Now, that moment could look different for every entrepreneur. Some entrepreneurs just need a moment of stillness. Some entrepreneurs need a moment to vent. Some entrepreneurs need a moment to cry. Some just need an opportunity to connect and make some money moves, some mogul moves, as my cousin Coop the Trill would say. So I provide that moment. We just need a moment. A lot of times us entrepreneurs are the oldest too, the oldest child, and we have so many responsibilities. We don't have time to take a moment, because if we take a moment, this and this and this and that, it's on the line. So I try to provide that moment. Now, how did it come about, girl?
Why'd you even start it?
Yeah, it started with a breakup. I'm not gonna lie. That breakup was kind of traumatic for me because it made me realize I needed to take a moment to figure out who I was, what I'm even doing, and what I need to do better for my relationships in my life. Not just romantically, but across all of my relationships. Because at the same time, I broke up. Well, my boyfriend broke up with me, and I lost 2 friends. So it was like, wait a minute.
Right.
I need a moment. Let me get this together. So
right.
Okay. I provide entrepreneurs a moment to figure out and walk in their peace, their purpose, and their power. So
okay. And has that always been something you've been able to do? Let's talk about your upbringing in St. Louis and how that, translates to your current mental health and how that relates to Good It and all that you do in the mental health space as well. Give us a little bit about, how you came up and what spurred all of that.
So growing up, the only feelings that were accepted in my family is anger and aggression. Well, that's really the same thing, anger and aggression. You got to be hard at all times. Never let nobody catch you slipping. Never let them see you cry. You keep your chin up. That's it. So when I left St. Louis and went to Texas, I was very much, I had a very hard exterior on. I mean, I let it down a little bit, but to everyone else, I was very hard. And sometimes, I would say people felt like that about me for a long time. They knew I was nice and things, but they felt that hard exterior and they associated my hardness with St. Louis. So I had to really take a moment to unlearn a lot of the things that I learned growing up, like the fact that it's okay to cry, that I'm normal if I cry, that I'm still as tough if I cry, and that I can have a conversation without it being a fight. If something, and you can set your boundaries too. And if people don't like your boundaries, it doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be a brawl. It can just be like, all right, deuces. It don't have to be so catastrophic like people try to make it out to be. So I had a lot of learning and unlearning to do. It took 10 years and counting. We never perfect.
And the counting, because you have a lot on your plate that you juggle, and there, can be a lot of pressures coming from you everywhere. So, right. How does your learning of yourself, mental health, and what you do with Good It venture out into the rest of your ventures, your city planning, your modeling, everything else that you do? Talk about those things.
So learning to work on myself, it's helped me really understand what was going on around me. So when you understand yourself, you understand what your boundaries are, what you will allow and what you won't allow, and even what you're open to. So getting into modeling and things was a way for me to explore myself deeper. I knew I was creative, but I was also kind of shy because they didn't do this at home. No one praised, like, I guess, vanity activities, or taught you how to really get in love with yourself. So that was me learning how to love myself and explore my boundaries, see what else I'm capable of. When I went to DC, I had to learn myself in different ways, learn how much of a power mover I am. Because in DC, they're not playing with you. you need to be punctual, you need to know everything, and you need to be certified, and you got to have people to vouch for what you're talking about. So I could have had the other things, but my attitude, I didn't know how to like handle business a certain way. And then I didn't have a lot of people vouching for me because I was so used to rolling dolo. So I had to, again, unpack, relearn a lot of different things. I needed a moment to do that. So
yeah, so that is interesting. You talk about all the steps you had to go through, especially being in a city like DC, and how that can create a lot of fear for some people who are stepping out, who haven't seen modeling, for instance, or any of those artistic professions. What advice would you give to someone who is from a St. Louis type city, wanting to do big things as you are doing, and maybe you're feeling overwhelmed by just the idea of all of it?
I would say just take a chance. You're gonna have to actually get up and do it because a lot of times we overhype it in our head. And it's way harder, it's way bigger, it's way more energy than what it really is when you actually sit and do it. So just do it.
Yeah.
Everything falls in line once you do it. That's it.
Yeah, all I can tell you is just like go for it. Like, because you really
That's
don't know what you're getting into until you get into. And
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? That kind of brings me, this is an interesting segue. It kind of brings me to the relationship part of it. Because then you're working on your work, you're working on your mental health, you're working on unlearning. So much is going on. How do you even have time for one? And, what would you be looking for in a partner to support you in those kinds of endeavors?
I would be looking for someone that's also very much in tune with themselves because that's the type of person that can be honest with themselves and express that most of the time. From
Yeah.
what I've been seeing.
Right.
um,
Right.
Even just in my own experience when I didn't know myself as well, a lot of the things, I won't say a lot, some of the things that I would say would definitely be a projection. So if I'm watching someone hustling and grinding and stuff, I may say something positive, but it could still just be me projecting what I want for myself in the future. Or if I doubted something, that's me doubting my capabilities. So I would want someone who can understand themselves enough to not project any negativity on my stuff, but also give me clear guidance because they can see clearly. They can see clearly, they can be honest and just a straight shooter.
Right. So what has been some of the challenges that you face being a single woman in this dating world with the kind of goals that you have for yourself and for your future partner? A challenge or two specifically that you can point to that you feel like maybe a lot of women even experience. Like, whatever.
I have two biggest challenges. One is the power war. I feel like a lot of men really do see the value that I bring. They like the energy that I bring. They like that I speak to the inner king of them. But for whatever reason, they want me to play a specific role and they'll try to downplay what I'm doing. So, for example, uh, I had a guy blow up on me because I'm sitting here. We hadn't talked all day for real, but I'm doing a lot of things for my business. So I'm posting on social media for my business. Now it's a whole problem because I would rather spend my time on social media than to be talking to my man all day. So now I'm a modern woman. And then I had another situation with a family member. He used the same word, modern woman. He came to me wanting to partner with me for business, but as he asked me a question, and rather than letting me answer the question, he kept over talking me, trying to rush me to get to an answer. And so when I told him I didn't appreciate him doing that, setting my boundaries, he blew up on me, walked away on me mid sentence, and called me a modern woman because modern women these days, you can't tell them nothing, you can't do nothing. Right. So it's like if I'm not following along with their rules or under their power, yeah, you great, but you're only as great as him in their mind. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's been real frustrating. Outside
Right.
of that, a lot of men aren't emotionally intelligent, but that comes from them not being really self-aware or feeling like they have a safe space to really get into those emotions. So, misters, take y'all time, become self-aware, and let yourself feel. It's okay to cry. It's okay.
That's exactly what my final question was going to be. So like everything that you do with Gutted, everything that you do with your city planning modeling, everything that we've talked about, the dating, the relationships, what you've learned, what would you say to Black men or men in general, but specifically that audience who maybe feels that modern woman pressure of having to put the woman in her place or not understanding our agency and autonomy? What advice would you give to them, or words of encouragement in that kind of mentality, if they have that?
Am I breaking up?
I can hear you now.
Okay, you were breaking up for a second. The advice that I would give men who are struggling with the autonomous woman, the creative powerhouse of a woman, get to the root of why that triggers you. Because the greatest women in history, the greatest men in history have a power moving woman alongside them. And they never once try to make her shrink, because making her shrink would take away from the empire and what you're doing as a great man. So figure out who you are, really take time to figure out who she is and how y'all can come together and build that empire. It's not about being side by side. I mean, it's not about one in front of the other. It's not about who's the best. It's about working together to create whatever you want to create. It's not about your idea only. It's not about her idea only. You come together, figure yourself out, figure her out, come together.
Right, right. Thank you. So what's next for Christie before we wrap up this quick flash into your life? Because we could go on and on about so much of what you do, but what is next for you, or what are you working on?
Woo! So Christie child is stepping into full entrepreneurship starting this Friday, July 29th. So I'm a little nervous about that, but look, I'm operating from a mindset of abundance, so it's up. I'm
Okay,
doing my work, so it's up.
it's already up.
So it's
It's up.
already up. I'll be leading Gutted full time, but I'll also be networking within my industry to help St. Louis with their micro mobility plan. So that means bringing bike share to the city and setting regulations for that, scooter programs, and just other mobility options that may come about. I just want to make it easier for hustlers to get to the bag. We from Hustle City, and if you
Yes.
stop in the bag, I'm gonna have an attitude. So that's that. But outside the career, I'm looking for my husband too.
Okay.
Well, I'm putting myself in position for my husband to find me.
Speak it.
So
Speak
I'm
it.
in the rooms, I'm doing my thing. He coming.
Coming, because why not? I mean, you know, that's the thing. So you've just joined us for our September issue, Giving Black Women Their Flowers profile on Christie Holland. There will be more in the magazine. You can connect with her on her socials and on her website. Make sure to check that out. And until then, y'all, we'll see you all next issue. Bye.
Bye.